to another episode of Spontaneous Disruption. This is your host, Nikki.
Hey, and it's your girl, L.
L.
Speaking of L, we got a new album out. Have you heard it? Me either. I heard it, but I gotta listen to it. He is the GOAT. I must listen.
Girl, what's your favorite song?
4321 is a good one. Around the Way, girl.
He just decided, like, hey, I'm getting in the studio.
Yeah, and Q-Tip.
But you know, Will Smith did this recently, and I was like, why?
He has that other sexy song, doing it well.
Okay, I love the LL from like back in the day, and also actually the Will Smith too. But like the current stuff, I'm like, why?
I thought you were getting jiggy with it. I thought you weren't with the jiggy.
Jiggy is not that. It's not that new though. Jiggy is a little bit older. I'm talking about the new current this year.
Current.
Yes, Will Smith has some new stuff.
I mean, he performed something on the BET Awards. I was not impressed. So. But whatever.
Neither was I. I'm like, no. I'm a hard no. But anyway, so today is, we're recording early. However, this show is releasing on my birthday.
Happy birthday! We had a whole party for you last week. Oh my God. And now we have another one. Yes.
I know. That was really fun. Y'all got me. I don't know how y'all got me. I don't know how y'all managed to do that.
I know, because you were cranky last year.
Y'all some sneaky links.
I got a drink for you. You hear my ice? I got a drink for you. You hear the ice?
I hear it. You know what? I've actually cut down on drinking. Like I really don't even drink it other than like special occasions. That's
good for you. Yeah.
Just now. Okay, so that means that I won't be getting drunk in my kitchen anymore. I'm just joking. Like
never get
not a thing.
It was never a thing.
No. But yeah, so at this time when this show releases, I will also be in Dubai. So Dubai. Yes, Dubai.
You was all sketchy about it in last week's episode.
I know. I wasn't telling nobody where I was going, what I was doing. None of y'all business. I don't want nobody breaking in my house while I'm gone. You know what I mean?
You have cameras in your house, so if you see me on your favorite chair with my feet kicked up watching basketball, why?
Oh, girl, I'm definitely sending Reno's finest over here to clear this feet out. But anyway, so let's roll into some technically speaking news.
What you got, girl?
I'm going to talk about Apple and these iPhones that they continue to upgrade and evolve ever since, Steve Jobs left us. They haven't really been doing a lot in terms of new product development, but I feel like they're pushing out updates and new features of the existing products that they have in the product stack all the time. So the latest is back in June, they announced that they were going to be releasing custom AI generated emoji. And so basically they're calling them Genmoji. That's a short way to say it. So you don't have to say custom AI generated emoji. It's Genmoji. And basically you can create them by just prompting your phone to, create the emoji based on what you say or type. So, give me a smiley, relaxing, wearing cucumbers. So it might generate something like a yellow smiley face, or maybe brown, a smiley face with cucumbers over its eyelids, spa.
Emojis are so important to people.
I know. People use them to communicate a lot.
They do. I misuse emojis.
Yeah. So it's with their iOS 18 release that's upcoming. The first version of iOS 0.1 is supposed to be released actually as of this airing. It will have already been released, so it's getting released on September 16th, but given it's roughly a week later, it would have already released. However, the Genmoji may not actually be released until closer to mid-December. So, we might have some little holiday themed emoji popping off around then. So they expect it to be released in like, I know, right? But it's supposed to be released in iOS 18.2. So data is subject to change, but that is what's coming. That's what's coming. Just want to let the people know. All right, well, what you got?
Child, so Meta, they are to enable WhatsApp and Messenger and interoperability with iMessage, Telegram, and more. Okay,
I think that's
so this story has been a little bit fascinating for me too, and I've been trying to like understand it. So Meta has announced the next steps in its third-party messaging integration process this is only for EU users now.
Yeah, I've heard.
So this will enable users of Messenger and WhatsApp to import chats from other apps. So back in March, Meta outlined how it is looking to facilitate messaging and operability in line with the new EU regulations. So under the EU's Digital Markets Act, large messaging providers are now required to enable messaging to ensure that they don't unfairly force out smaller players. I think that's interesting.
Interesting.
Okay, so Meta's making the option to connect with people using other apps easier to find with clear indicators in stream.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I hate that like we won't have it in the US, but I just knowing how important it is outside of the US.
The EU is always so far ahead of us, but I kind of like the fact that because I have gone back into like WhatsApp and transferring between all my different messaging apps, so it'll be cool to have everything kind of in like playing well with one another, I should say.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it. Maybe they'll get all the bugs out. And then they'll finally bring it to the U.S. We're always so far behind.
There's going to be an option, I think, to have all the messages together, but there's also an option just to keep each provider separate from your main chats.
Yeah, and so I don't even use Telegram.
I barely knew what that was until we recently reported on it. I'm not sure. I think we discussed like what area of the world uses Telegram the most, and I don't know if it's the US or not, but okay.
I do use WhatsApp and iMessage, but not even like Messenger anymore. I'm just not an avid user of it. But like, I don't know, I think this is a great development, and I hope that it eventually reaches us.
Yeah, but they said that one of the main things missing from the update though is encryption. So
girl, what?
So are you talking about that? Full encryption.
No.
Yeah, full.
How is that an afterthought at this point?
It's not that Meta doesn't have it, but some of these other messaging apps don't have full encryption.
WhatsApp does. WhatsApp is better encrypted than like any of
maybe apparently not Telegram. Telegram doesn't sound like a safe space from what we've reported anyway. So not all of the third party providers utilize E2EE protection. And so I don't know, that remains to be a challenge and it needs to be addressed. And I'm sure that they won't be rolling it out in the US until they address that issue.
Well, I guess the point
you're all excited. Now you're rolling it back.
No, I mean, I'm like the fact that it ain't coming here anyway. That's why I said like work out all the bugs and then, you know what I mean? And then it comes to the US, but like Telegram, they were mostly in trouble because they weren't moderating, some of the content that was being posted there. And their founder actually got into a lot of trouble in that and they got like shut down. But they're still operating. But like I think if they can tie up that loose end and bring this around, then I think, maybe they can finally sort it out. Because obviously there has to be a lesson there in terms of responsibility, like for these application owners. So that can't be it can't be an afterthought. That's all I'm saying. Can't be.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to some low vibes. What you got?
Unfortunately, and I'm so tired of hearing about this. I have a Dallas student that was murdered, after a fight outside of a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
So David David Washington, he was a student at Justin F. Kimball High School. And so after a Duncanville South Oak Cliff football game at Kincaid Stadium in Dallas, police said a large crowd had gathered and a group of people started actually following David across the street to the Love's gas station. So basically they stalked him. Like, I guess he was by himself, and I don't understand or know why they targeted him per se. But he had actually called his mom to pick him up early. Yeah. And this is the really sad part. His mom tragically saw the fight and she saw the shooting. So
she was just getting there and she was coming to pick him up.
She was able to see him.
Oh, no.
Horrible. So she said she screamed his name, and that's when she heard the 2 gunshots go off.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy because there's a 16-year-old that has been arrested and charged with his murder. They, of course, haven't released his name because he's a juvenile, but 16 years old, you just started. You haven't even started to live, actually. You're not even old enough to drink or drive or anything.
That's crazy.
Now his whole life is like gone. Yeah.
You might get tried as an adult. You know, they obviously stalked him, followed him. You know,
and apparently he was a really good kid.
Oh, who the kid who got shot?
Yeah. So all the people were saying how he had just the biggest heart. He was the sweetest kid. Most people said, you know, they looked at him as their own. Like, this kid was truly beloved. So, to have his mom like witness it is tragic. And like, when does it end? I get so tired of these gun violence. The gun violence and these young people like ruining your entire life for what?
Well, Dallas Independent School District, I mean, overall, they do have a lot of safety stuff in place, but like, obviously this didn't happen at the school. But Oak Cliff in particular is a neighborhood that's just kind of has a history of violence and, you know, just particularly in crime, basically. Now, it is one of those areas that's like on the cusp of gentrification, but it's not quite there yet. It's one of those situations. And the most tragic thing you said was about, for me, one, the loss of life here, but also his mother having to witness it is just definitely heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
It's very heartbreaking, and it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Unnecessary. Like, seriously, this is crazy.
Well, I am going to try to lift us up a little bit to talk about Neisha Butler, who is actually a former athlete, record-breaking athlete, who has doing a lot to actually help youth and help kids, specifically Afro-Latina kids who are based in New York City. And she has opened essentially what is a STEM camp, you know, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But the name of it is called STEAM Champs, STEAM, right? STEAM Champ. Yeah, and so basically, she's using like, it's kind of like broad background that she has to like elevate the next generation of student athletes and STEM professionals. And so they have like a customized curriculum. They provide semi-private tutoring sessions of like 2 students to 1 coach. And they work with these kids like to prepare them for jobs coming up. So they work with like very young kids all the way through high school. They are basically, the mission is to kind of help break generational poverty. They're teaching them coding, robotics, electronics, and arts. And and I'm talking about like not in a little HTML, like they're getting deep. They're getting deep into all types of languages. They're moving with like where the world is moving. They're getting into like, for the more advanced and intermediate, you know, students, like 3D animation, AI, data analysis. Like they're not playing any games. Like, so in terms of like languages, it's not, like I said, not just like something basic like HTML. Is like JavaScript, like C++, etc. So they are really going in. I think I love it. And I don't know. I might even try to like check it out because I may be going to New York for a visit soon for work. And I might legit pop over there because I don't know if you know, I think I told you a long time ago, I had done a community service project like with the firm and brought in some young students to give them a coding class.
Oh, I didn't
So
know
it was
that.
it was
Okay.
pretty cool. It's just like I don't know, I was just motivated to do it. But I think that's so cool. She, man, I hope she branches out and is really successful with this and like it really takes off. But yeah, she's gone from athlete, record-breaking athlete to tech entrepreneur. You go, girl.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, let's delve into the Internet of Things.
All right, let's do it.
All right. All right. I want to talk about a Miami-Dade officer. You could not have missed this. And everybody was talking about it. But the Miami-Dade officer who was put on leave after pulling Tyreek Hill out of his car. He is a star player for the Miami Dolphins. And it was a traffic stop. It was a traffic stop. They said that he was reckless driving. He yanked him out of the car after he rolled his window up as he walked back to his car to prepare to write him a ticket. So I don't know, girl. I mean, I feel like everybody's kind of seen this whole interaction at this point. I'm assuming you have. I'm assuming you've seen it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been everywhere. You can't miss it.
I don't know what the actual charges were against Tyreek, but the first thing he said to him when he rolled his window down, he walked up on him was, why don't you have your seatbelt on? I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, and he was like, all ultra aggressive. But his
Dude,
lawyer,
just write me a ticket for not having a seatbelt on. Like,
that's what Tyreek said. He was just like, can you just, I'm in a hurry, like he was on the phone. He was just like, just do what you got to do, man. Just do what you got to do. And I think, as he said that, the officer walking back to the car. And so as he was doing that, Tyreek rolled his window up. I mean, it's Miami. It was 90 degrees. It's hot. Your car, your luxury vehicle is air conditioning. So not only you driving while black, but you got the nerve to want to be comfortable. You know what I mean? And so the officer turns back as he does that. And he says, keep your window down. He knocks on the window, keep your window down, keep your window down. He was like, roll your window down. He's just yelling at him, barking orders. So Tyreek is like, what's up? He's just like, if you don't, I'm not going to play this game with you. I'm going to take you out of the car or whatever. He's like, you know what? As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Get out of the car. And that's when he yanked him, put his knee on his back and all of this. Anyway, I was whatever.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, unnecessary force. But his lawyer is asking for his job to be reinstated immediately, for him to be put back, on the force. He needs to be assigned to the desk and permanently, as far as I'm concerned, or fired. Just,
I mean, retraining. These cops have definitely always needed retraining.
Yeah. Take the trash out. Anywho, what you got?
Oh, honey, this is the other thing you had to be on the rock. The black folks they are up in arms over this next story, honey. So Beyoncé was snubbed by the Country Music Association. So the EMA Awards announced its nominees for the upcoming 58th annual award show. And Beyonce's debut album did not make it.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
She was nominated for 0, despite being the first black woman to top Billboard's top country albums with Cowboy Carter and her hot country song single. It charted, Texas Hold'em. Mm-hmm. Baby.
Wow.
So they did nothing to quell the complaints about country music's history of bias against black artists.
I mean, BET Awards just need to come out with their own country music category at the end of the day, right? We just created one.
Basically, she actually did. Although, I have mixed feelings about it in a way, because Beyonce herself, when it came out, she said it ain't a country album, it's a Beyonce album. Is it country or not? So some folks are saying that she didn't really play the game with the country music industry. I mean, she just dropped the album, just kind of went away. There were no visuals. She didn't go into Nashville. They feel like she didn't go through the proper channels, you know, whatever that may be. But she still dropped an album. She was able to chart despite not doing any of those things. And
I just seen that you say, like, she didn't even feel it was a country album, like, you know.
That's what she said. So that's why I'm like, I have mixed feelings about it. But what I will say is, you know, whatever your thoughts are about the album, her album dropping, it definitely made a huge impact on country music this year. I mean, it was a shift.
Absolutely. That's why I think it's so shocking that, you know, they didn't at least recognize. And like, okay, there was the obvious snub, right? But like,
it's definitely innovative. Well,
why
asking other people to do it? But
why didn't they kind of recognize, you know, and like, we have no background, and to know like whether or not did anybody reach out to her and encourage her to do this or whatever. Like, and has she even spoken on this? I feel like sometimes like Beyonce is just like holding herself out as like I'm above all this, but you know, she needs to like speak on some stuff. So like, did she care? Did she care? You know?
I think she did what she set out to do. Put it this way. She released a statement 3 months after Cowboy Carter. And what she said was, when you're breaking down barriers, not everybody is ready for or open to the shift. She said, but when I see Shaboozey, I don't know if you know who Shaboozey is. He's a blackity black. He got dreads and everything, honey. He's got a song called the Tipsy Song or something. It's tearing up the charts. So she said, when I see Shaboozey tearing up the charts and all the beautiful female country singers flying to new heights, inspiring the world, that is exactly what motivates me. She said, I'm honored to introduce so many people to the roots of so many genres. The music industry gatekeepers are not happy about the idea of bending genres, especially coming from a black artist and definitely not from a woman.
Well, then she needs to get her publicists and PR people to write in another statement about how she feels about this particular thing, and also acknowledging, you know, the fact that you didn't really play the game, you know, and because we didn't feel X, Y, and Z, or we do feel X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Because like, I think
her intention was to start the conversation, and she did. And
don't let the Bay High fight your battles, basically. Yeah. They're all in an uproar. How do you feel about it? I want to hear from her. You know?
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. You know, she's not good with that sort of thing. She does what she does and she keeps it moving, honestly. Maybe she feels like the music and the impact should speak for itself, but it goes over people's heads. And to me, I always say there's nothing wrong with tooting your own horn.
No, there's nothing wrong.
I've always listened to country music, so I was like, you know, and Cowboy Carter, it was okay to me. I listened to it. I've heard, you know, I did like the Chicks. There's plenty, you know, of other country songs that I actually like. I like some of the K. Michelle country songs that she's put out also.
It's one thing to like come out and say like, oh, like the world isn't ready to accept, you know, the industry isn't ready to accept like this new nuance and this and that. But then also feel a way about supposedly being snubbed because you didn't really recognize protocol and tradition, and you didn't kind of adhere to like what is standard within this particular thing. Like, it's been a genre. Nashville isn't a new thing. That Nashville has been there, right? Like,
I think she's saying basically, bitch, I'm Beyonce. I ain't got to do none of that.
You have to conform on some level. You're saying on one hand that you're not going to do whatever like that, you know, I'm doing my thing, I'm making music and I'm whatever, but at the same time you want to be accepted by this particular institution. Now Beyonce hasn't said that she wants to be accepted by this institution. She may not care about the CMA, but I'm saying, say what you feel, girl. Say with your chest.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we won't know until she does come out and says something.
Right.
I mean, you know, in traditional Beyonce form, she doesn't really say anything. I think she feels like her music and her artistry should speak for itself. But again, like I said, honey, it goes over some folks' head. They don't get it. But what I will say about this, my final word on that, I'm so tired of us as a people of color and trendsetters. And honey, we the ones who started country music. We brought out country music. I'm tired of us always seeking accolades from the others.
And acknowledgement.
We do not need to do that. Acknowledgement and accolades, we don't need it, in my opinion. But hey, that's why
I agree with your opinion. And the last thing I'm going to say about it is, I can't care any more than Beyonce, and since I don't know how she cares,
I love that. Yes.
I don't care. I don't care.
Honey, if you don't care, I don't care. Well, yeah.
Right. So, what I do care about though is hair loss.
Me too.
I feel a way about hair loss. Okay. So, like Monique Rodriguez, who is the CEO, she was actually the original founder of Mielle Organics hair care line, but I think she sold it out to. Goodness, I cannot remember the name of the company she sold the line to. However, in part of that, sale, she was appointed as the CEO, right? So she's received she and the line Mielle Organics has received a lot of backlash lately about the brand and the brand's products. Several Black women on TikTok are alleging that they are experiencing hair loss, hair dryness.
Something changed.
She's currently the CEO, which ultimately still makes her responsible, right? So if you're not down in like understanding of like what's happening in the development and engineering and sourcing processes, like that, nobody's saying you have to be there hands-on, but like understanding, like you're still responsible at the end of the day. You're the chief executive of the firm. So, and maybe that was intentional. Maybe it was intentional to keep her in that position so she could take all the backlash for anything that was to come, right?
So that makes sense.
So all she said, which is saying a whole lot of nothing to me, is that I would just encourage people to check the labels. From 2019 to 2024, you'll see that there's been no formula change. Okay, there may not have been a formula change, but has there been an ingredient change, like a sourcing change? There's all types of things that can affect. Are you now like, you're saying it's organic, but is it really organic? Or is there like some other kind of chemicals and stuff creeping into the process somewhere? Like, what is your organization quality control methods? Have those changed? Like, I'm just saying that was not enough. It was not enough. You have not relieved yourself of all culpability. That's all I'm going to say.
All I'm going to say about that. Yeah, you have to be careful about that, honey. They might have bought your company just to make you go out of business, and who knows? Maybe they changed something behind your back, child. Who knows? You have to really be careful with that.
You're stealing market share from somebody else?
Absolutely.
I don't have much more to say about that. I want to shift over to our main topic, which has absolutely nothing to do with that.
It's all right. Apples and oranges.
Yeah. But it is a topic that is sort of like recently more near and dear to me, just because obviously I've been like more focused on like goal setting and determining my purpose, and anyway, I got some other stuff to say about that because anyway, I'll talk about it later. However, our main topic today is aligning the subconscious and conscious mind. You ever heard of anything brewing about this?
No. I mean, I think things happen subconsciously. And I'm like, I think my subconscious mind here and there. But I don't really tap into it a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that basically, because like people know what your conscious mind is. That's stuff that you like kind of saying and deciding like there at the forefront, right? But then your subconscious mind is a part of yourself that you're just not fully aware of.
Or dealing with,
but it heavily influences like how you feel and your actions. So like say you have a goal and you've said, I'm going to achieve this, but your subconscious mind is basically sabotaging you because they're not in alignment. Your focus and your intention are like not aligned in terms of like you reaching that, your subconscious mind is still like tainted with like these toxic thoughts that are just kind of working against your elevation, like your progress.
Exactly. Yeah. I look at your subconscious mind as like, your conscious mind is like the angel on your left shoulder. Your subconscious is the devil on your right shoulder. Your conscious mind is like, girl, you got this. You can do this. Your subconscious like, girl, you need to sit down. You ain't gonna do this once it's gone and eat that hot dog or eat that slice of pizza. You gonna be just fine. You'll be happier if you do that. Your subconscious mind. And I talk to people who have anxiety issues sometimes. Your body reacts to what's in your subconscious, I believe. I know people who have like again, like I said, anxiety. And I think it's because their subconscious mind is taking over what they think they can do. They're like, well, I felt fine. I thought I was fine. I'm like, no, your body is actually reacting to what your subconscious mind is telling you.
Yeah. Well, all true. And I came across...
Y'all ain't gotta listen because I'm drinking.
It's a celebration of my birthday. So
it is.
You're allowed.
Thank you.
I should be toasting too. I should have had a little something. But, I'm sure by the time this actually airs, like I will probably have had quite a bit to toast to. So
I'm going to make sure that happens.
Listen. Okay. So there's a New York-based psychologist. I came across his site as I was looking more deeply into this because it actually kind of sparked through conversations that I was having with some other people. And anyway, so like one of the things I was going to say earlier is just about like their recommendation that like, God created you. So, or some people say the Most High, Allah, like, the Creator created you. So certainly she knows what you were created for, like what they had in mind, right? So ask them, like, have that conversation with them. But like I had, come across this website. His name is like Dr. Logan Jones. And he just talked about some ways in which, you could align your subconscious mind with your conscious mind. And of course, like it gave me the thought that, he's a psychologist, but it gave me the thought that, obviously we may not know how to do this. Like we're not even aware sometimes of our subconscious, right? And when it's working and how it's functioning and working against us sometimes, right? That you don't have to go it alone, basically. You can get some help. Like, you can get some guidance with this, I'd love, yeah. But listen, so he was saying like one tip is like really know that you're worthy of the goals that you set for yourself, because the subconscious mind is working off of those deeply rooted beliefs. So it's like, I'm saying with my conscious mind that I want to achieve this. But then your subconscious mind is playing tricks on you saying like, do you really deserve that? You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of like driving like what your actions are and inhibiting you from actually doing what you need to do it. So starting out is just kind of like affirming yourself that you're worthy, that, you deserve the thing that it is that you do. And you said it earlier. You said, I can do anything that I set my mind to. I think we were talking about something else. And you were like, yeah, I can do anything I set my mind to. Right. A lot of people don't even believe that, but it's very important when you're talking about mindset, right? And your belief system, like that's extremely important. So that was one tip that he gave. Another tip was just really like aligning your actions, like with your words, something might be like, going to bed earlier, waking up later, something like that, like prioritizing, healthy diet and regimen or whatever, following through with things that you said you were going to do. Like basically there, the saying, don't talk about it, be about it,
Yep.
Stop running your mouth and like, actually take some action. So
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So your actions have to reflect what it is that you're saying that you want to do. So if you're saying that you want to lose whatever, like me, I'm saying, I got to get up. I got to do the work. I'm not going to get anywhere. So without doing the work. And the last thing, the third tip was just really about like practicing mindfulness. And I told you, girl,
I'm all about mindfulness now.
Girl. Yeah. Absolutely. Like practicing mindfulness.
Yes.
It's like clearing out like all
it's
the
like
negative
a big thing
thoughts.
For me now. Yeah. And just mindfulness and intention is like big now for me.
Well, bringing your subconscious thoughts essentially, and beliefs to the forefront so you can actually address and confront them. You can actually start to like,
I was going to ask, how do you quiet those subconscious negative thoughts? Like,
well, his tip, what he talked about was like writing them down, like basically, like how you feel internally, starting to, the more mindfulness is really just about like getting in touch with your inner self, right? Like that's what it kind of boils down to for most of like the mindfulness practitioners and other things that, like I've been reading and taking in more recently, talk about. Like it's basically getting to know you, like your inner self and grounding yourself and things like that. So if you're not aware that you're being sabotaged by yourself for whatever reason about something, like if you're not aware that you actually believe something that's like a negative behavior or then you can't really address it. It's kind of like, when you talk about like people who are addicts, unless there's a problem, like you can't really address the addiction and the habit, like whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because you haven't acknowledged that it's actually a problem. So, yeah. And you're holding on to things like the root, these ideas without even knowing it. So he recommends like meditating.
Yeah.
And just kind of like opening, journaling, whatever. And you can do that in a lot of ways. Like some people like, I'm not trying to get out like a piece of paper and a pen to like.
You know what? One of my the most huge challenge that I have in my life, besides not being able to swim, which I'm gonna.
Oh gosh,
I can face that one, but the one I cannot seem to face, and it's my subconscious. Like it's talking me down. It always overtakes me. Is public speaking. That is like the biggest challenge I have in my life. I literally feel like I can't do it. Like I literally get physically ill and I don't know what to do, like to turn that off. Like I try to address like what is causing this. I'm not sure. I was really, really shy when I was a kid and it still comes out a lot. I don't know. That's one of the things I think it goes back to
like aligning your actions and your words. So stop saying that you can't do it.
I haven't been able to.
In terms of like, I'm serious. It would be the equivalent of I'm an excellent public speaker.
Okay.
I'm worthy of being heard and listened to.
No, I can buy that one.
Like, you know what I mean? I can do anything. Yeah. Like, like you really have to like know that you're worth, I deserve to be listened to, Yeah. So like
something to say.
Kind of I have something to say and there are people who need to hear this. So versus like, oh, you can't do that. Why? You know what I mean? Like girl, nobody's going to listen to you. Why are you fearful about doing that is what you need to get in touch with. And that's kind of the mindfulness thing. I think that part of it, right, is recognizing that deep down inside, it's fear. I'm afraid that no one wants to hear what I have to say, Yeah. And that's what you're confronting. And then you're kind of addressing that with the knowledge of your worth and deservedness. And then also aligning what you're saying out loud, because like what you say out loud eventually starts to reprogram how you feel on the inside. That's kind of, you know what I mean? Gotcha. And it's not just like thinking it, it's saying it out loud sometimes. Like just say it to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to like anytime I would have my ex-husband, he was the best at like trying to encourage me to do things. But, he was funny the way he did it because he was really funny. But I'm not going to go into like the exact words that he would do or say. But he would just be like, you a bad bitch. Like basically, you know what I mean?
He was like, gas you up. Like, yeah, you got this, you got this.
Yes. And so, like that's really, I feel like that was like really helpful. But like, it was just hearing it and the words, you know what I mean? And he like literally, he would also be like, F them people like this, you know what I mean? It would really help me kind of, cause like put things in perspective. Right? Because maybe that's it too, right? They're all gonna laugh at me. Like it's more so like, do I really care what these people think? That is the reprogramming part that has to happen when you're thinking about this. That's the reconstruction of those thoughts into healthier ideas that are going to better serve you. Anywho. Anyway, I don't have anything more to say about that. I just want to share those tips. I thought that was super dope. His name is Dr. Logan Jones. He's a psychologist. Again, he's based in New York City. Check him out. And that brings us to our Each One, Teach One. Shoot.
Okay, so what I will say, in the words of the embattled rap producer mogul, hate to say it, don't stop, won't stop. Sean D. Combs, he does have a point. He had some good things to say, I guess, as long as you ain't his girlfriend. But I will say, don't stop, won't stop. Keep pushing to improve yourself or break barriers. I was inspired actually by Beyonce's, the story we reported about Beyonce breaking barriers in the country music industry. And I also was inspired by an interview I heard on the Breakfast Club this morning with Fawn Weaver, who is the founder and creator of Uncle Nearest whiskey.
Yeah.
And man, there's some barriers that you need to break. And a lot of the times folks don't want to see, Black folks breaking barriers. And definitely, again, like Beyonce said, Black and a woman, it's a real challenge. But believe in yourself and just keep pushing.
Yep.
And just stay focused, And a lot of people won't be happy about what you're doing, but do what's best for you. Do what's best for your community or your people. If it's going to help somebody, keep it pushing. I'm happy to see that.
Well, mine is, I guess, on the path of like mindfulness and conscious and subconscious. Like mine is more so about your body, your temple, and more so just like being more mindful of what you put into it. And so, look, I am not one of those people who is just like all organic, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I am trying to be more like conscious of things that I'm choosing. Like when I go and buy something, is it good for me health wise? Like, is my deodorant okay? Is, you know what I mean? Like in terms of like what it's got in it, people talk about aluminum and all these things, whatever. Am I getting enough water? It can be like super simple things that actually improve your well-being. And so like, I just want people to be like more mindful of like what they put into their temple. You go buy some food, like, is this good for, like, is this healthy? What is this actually going to do for me? So I just want people to be more mindful of that and take care of their bodies. Like, you only got one.
Yeah, agreed.
Got one. And that brings us to the end of our show today.
And we want to thank you for sticking with us as we continue to grow.
You can listen and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We also invite you to like and follow us on IG and TikTok and email us at spontaneousdisruption@gmail.com to chat with your host or propose topics for future episodes.
And with that, we'll see you next week, and we out.